Caitlin Clark just did something that no athlete has done since Michael Jordan.
Basketball was permanently altered by Michael Jordan, and Caitlin Clark is doing the same with her Wilson contract in WNBA. Veterans are incapable of handling it. The Michael Jordan comparison comes directly from Jordan himself, confirming the seismic impact she's having on women's basketball. This is about a rookie who's tripling attendance, breaking 62 records, and making some veterans so envious that they're targeting her on court. Thousands of signature basketballs sold out in 40 minutes flat.
Caitlin Clark wasn't like no one ever said there weren't ever great players before Caitlin Clark. There was never phenomenon, not in my lifetime, with women's basketball. And I went to UConn, so I've seen plenty of great players, but nobody's ever moved the needle in my lifetime like this.
Similar to how Jordan changed the NBA in the 1980s, Clark is changing the WNBA scene now. Her unparalleled success challenges the status quo and challenges veterans who have never witnessed anything like this before. And we have the evidence right here.
Today, Wilson unveiled Caitlin Clark's signature basketball, making her the first athlete since Michael Jordan to get their own signature basketball from Wilson. She also becomes the first WNBA player to get her own signature basketball from Wilson.
Yes, when Michael Jordan introduced a product, people waited for days to get it. Caitlin Clark had accomplished something that has never been seen in women's basketball before. She has attained the same degree of market-breaking influence. The Wilson contract marks a significant turning point in history. Let that sink in for a moment. No female basketball player has released their own trademark collection since Jordan himself. The WNBA veterans are experiencing a range of emotions as they see this phenomenon develop. Cheryl Swoops, who once doubted Clark's capacity to support transition during her time in college, is now admitting to Clark's extraordinary commercial influence. The tension is evident when Clark's name is mentioned alongside Michael Jordan's in marketing discussions, a comparison that questions the established hierarchy in women's basketball.
Clark is the first ever female athlete to have her own collection with Wilson, but just a heads up though, the entire collection on the Wilson website is sold out.
When those iconic basketballs reached the market, Wilson greatly underestimated the demand. Thousands of basketballs disappeared from stock in just 40 minutes, outpacing the debut of major gaming consoles like the PS5. This deal's incredible impact became immediately obvious. The shopping frenzy shows how Clark's cultural influence goes well beyond conventional basketball fans, generating economic reverberations across women's sports marketing. This level of consumer enthusiasm is similar to what we witnessed during Jordan's heyday. Clark has revolutionized the economics of women's basketball by motivating supporters who are opening their wallets at record rates. According to the commercial response, Clark has attained widespread acceptance, something that many veterans have been doing for years without much success.
Calling all Caitlin Clark fans, 2 new limited edition basketballs are now available at select Hy-Vee stores. The designs are part of the Inspire series that Clark is doing in partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. The tribute ball pays homage to Clark's time within the Iowa women's basketball team, and the Dreamer ball is designed to encourage athletes to pursue their dreams. Both are available in sizes 3 and 6 at select Hy-Vee locations.
The compilation alone provides an engaging account of Clark's unique style of play. Every basketball play has a distinct meaning. The 3-up ball honors her exceptional shooting range, which compels opponents to keep her at bay from half court, and the record breaker demonstrates her statistical superiority. Each feature of the laser-cut design relates to particular facets of Clark's game that are transforming women's basketball and producing a range of products that feels genuine as opposed to just advertising the throng. The way that Clark transforms an arena into an event is captured by Maestro Ball. When she takes the court, the atmosphere changes drastically, and people who had previously disregarded women's basketball suddenly become involved with every play. This magnetic quality is an innate ability that distinguishes transcendent athletes from ordinary ones.
Wilson did not mess around with these basketballs. Geometric patterns form the number 22 in triangles whose 3 sides nod to threes that fuel her scoring, and then the black and yellow is a nod to the colorways of the Iowa Hawkeye.
The apparent conflict inside the league is explained by this extraordinary market reaction. Veterans have spent years cultivating a broad following without attaining similar financial success. After 10 years of professional play, Clark has already achieved what many others couldn't. And when basketballs sell out more quickly than cutting-edge tech products, it shows how far Clark has come from being an athlete to a cultural icon.
Yeah, but she's incredible. Congratulations to her and her family. Yeah. Like the crazy thing is, I'm just seeing her last year when they played LSU, but she's phenomenal. I'm going to go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever. Ever? Well, I don't know about you.
The Wilson agreement illustrates Clark isn't simply another talented rookie, but someone who has already achieved something unprecedented in women's basketball. Her commercial impact is measured in concrete sales figures that place her in conversation with basketball's greatest icon before completing her rookie season. This fundamentally changes expectations about what's possible for women's basketball players in the marketplace.
And when you take into stock the fact that outside of Kevin Durant, aging superstar, LeBron James, 40 years old, and Steph Curry, there's not a single NBA player more popular today than Caitlin Clark. That is a problem.
While some veterans find it difficult to accept Clark's quick rise to the marketing summit, forward-thinking players see the opportunity Clark presents to raise the profile of the entire WNBA by drawing unprecedented attention to the league. Her widespread visibility draws more sponsorship dollars that benefit all players in the commercial ecosystem of women's basketball. Because of Clark's extraordinary success, others can follow in her footsteps, which might completely change the way that female athletes are seen in the industry.
According to Sports Pro, Caitlin Clark is the 4th most marketable athlete in the world. Yeah, not just female athlete, not just in the United States, but in the entire world.
As Clark continues to elevate the WNBA as a whole, she made a marketing move that at first perplexed industry insiders, but eventually demonstrated her brilliance. What could possibly be more relatable to middle America than putting trademark basketballs next to milk and eggs? This historic action is changing the guidelines for how female athletes can shape culture. When you think of superstar athlete partnerships, you most likely picture high-end sportswear, luxury goods, or perhaps energy drinks. Caitlin Clark chose to establish herself in the aisles of Hy-Vee supermarkets throughout the Midwest. This was a brilliant strategic move that demonstrates why Clark is competing on a totally different level than anyone else in women's basketball. You certainly don't picture the neighborhood grocery store.
Basketballs. Very, very cool. Big deal. Good job, Wilson. You know, they probably went and put this together. I mean, maybe Hy-Vee contacted Caitlin Clark first, but, you know, this is probably something, the type of thing Wilson is trying to do.
Imagine the familiar beep of scanners at checkout, the fluorescent lights whirring overhead, and parents pushing carts through congested aisles before abruptly switching between the dairy and domestic necessities sections. While elite sportsmen seek out upscale department stores and boutiques, Caitlin Clark's iconic basketball stand is proudly on show. This isn't just a random placement, it's a homecoming. Clark selected the typical setting where families in the Midwest spend their weekends.
Here, they just had this going. This is the Hy-Vee Instagram account. Again, Wilson, Caitlin Clark, really smart, very cool video, lots of smiling faces.
Consider it. Every time someone passes down that aisle, they see Caitlin Clark every single time. And you know what's striking some veterans? The typical American visits a grocery store 1.6 times per week, which is engagement you simply can't have from a billboard or commercial that people might skip. Clark realized early on that becoming a cultural icon meant connecting with everyday people where they actually spend their time. The Hy-Vee partnership places her products where people shop, but more importantly, it tells middle America, I'm one of you. The WNBA still doesn't understand the strategy because they're so focused on being seen as serious athletes that they've missed it. Clark presents herself as the hometown hero who is also revolutionizing basketball.
And I've said it a million times, it's not breaking news, it's not brand new, but I really do believe Caitlin Clark is the next face of basketball. You know, they've been searching for that in the NBA. Who's the next face of the NBA? It's been LeBron and Steph carrying the torch. I think the next face of basketball, period, is Caitlin Clark.
Observe what happens when Clark takes the court. The statistics show that when she plays WNBA games, the average viewership is 1.18 million, which is 3 times the league average. Clark is attracting everyone to women's basketball, and your dad, who has never watched a WNBA game in his life, is now inquiring as to when the Fever will play next. Clark is not only amazing on the court, she is also outstanding off it. Historically, witnessing has been a privilege. Michael Jordan and Caitlin Clark are the only rookies in history to average those incredible postseason numbers. 18 plus points. She has been walking hand in hand with the GOAT from day one, contributing more than 8.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 block, and 2 steals a game. This goes beyond just selling basketballs. What Jordan did for men's basketball, Clark is doing for women's basketball. She is a cultural phenomenon who happens to play basketball, and that difference is crucial for long-term effects.
We knew Caitlin Clark was marketable, but she's been put over some pretty big names. In fact, some worldwide, huge, international names. 2 of them being Messi and Ronaldo.
Some veterans continue to use an antiquated strategy, while Clark creates a completely new one. They are vying for conventional sports marketing opportunities, while Clark creates her own platform and invites everyone to join. What's even more amazing is how Clark stays true to herself throughout her collaboration with a Midwestern grocery chain, which perfectly fits with her personal brand and roots. She's doubling down on exactly who she is, and it's working incredibly well.
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists.
Okay.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pro?
The sharp contrast between Clark's estimated $11 million in endorsements and her $76,500 league salary isn't just a figure on paper. It's the focal point of a rivalry that threatens to overshadow the game itself. Because of this financial gap, veteran players are pushing back on the court with physical play that seems to be intended to make a point, even though Clark interacts with regular Americans at grocery stores. Have you noticed how some veterans defend Clark in a different way than just winning games? It's not your imagination. The aggressive double teams and extra contact aren't just strategic. They're personal players who have spent years fighting to establish the league's reputation. They're watching as a rookie gets the attention they've been chasing their entire careers. And can you really blame them? Imagine working tirelessly for 10 years to create a league from the ground up, only to have someone else virtually instantly take over as the face of all your hard work.
They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they gotta be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they gotta be drama.
He criticized the league's handling of the incident, saying, "The tension is evident during games, and it's not just fans who are noticing. Even basketball legend Charles Barkley couldn't stay silent about it. They couldn't have messed this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried." Barkley's criticism goes deeper. The WNBA wasn't ready for a player who could change the women's basketball industry's economics overnight.
Guy.
Yeah.
But the stuff toward her is petty and jealous. And the thing I love about her, she never says a word.
This isn't just about envy, though. It's about a system that wasn't equipped to handle a transcendent player. When Clark steps onto the court, paying less than $77,000 but generating millions for the league, it reveals the structural problems the WNBA has been papering over for years. The salary cap, which was intended to inspire humor, now appears to be a roadblock keeping the league from appropriately appraising its most valuable asset.
And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the gain on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there, and it was done in 2 weeks.
And this is what makes it much more intriguing. Instead of retaliating against the veterans or demanding preferential treatment, Clark is using her newfound power to make things better for everyone. Did you know that she has already assisted in securing charter flights for all teams and improved travel arrangements? Women's basketball into primetime slots thanks to a huge $200 million media agreement. These benefits extend beyond Clark. They also help all of the league's players, including the veterans who ignore her.
That's all. The league won. But every time we think there's a win, there's somebody who brings something else up. And it's unfortunate. It's like when Tiger joined the PGA Tour.
When a rookie earns 144 times more money off the court than on it, the WNBA needs to confront outmoded marketing methods, limited mass appeal, and a compensation structure that doesn't reward players who drive growth. The turmoil around Clark has turned into a mirror, reflecting everything. The league's pay structure was not intended for someone who can sell out thousands of signature basketballs in 40 minutes, or who can increase attendance by threefold simply by showing up. So something obviously needs to be fixed.
What if I told you a WNBA rookie was out here doing what no one thought was possible and outshining the great Michael Jordan's legacy? How would you react? Caitlin Clark is the girl flipping the script. Her rookie numbers are ridiculous. Fans, analysts.
While social media is ablaze with cryptic posts from veterans and analysts discussing the tension, Clark continues to show up and deliver. She's not just surviving the pressure, she's thriving under it. And now she has an endorsement that could finally silence the critics. When Michael Jordan talks basketball, listens, and Jordan didn't just talk, he gave Clark his stamp of approval, saying that the WNBA owes her recognition for everything. Consider what she's doing for women's basketball. Coming from the man who changed the way we think about athlete marketing, this isn't simply another viewpoint. It's the one that matters most in basketball culture. Realizing that Clark's actions go beyond the typical rookie impact. The story reaches a turning point with Jordan's endorsement, which confirms what the numbers have been indicating all along. Clark is not just well-liked, she is revolutionary, and her presence has already compelled the league to change more quickly than it had anticipated. The question is not whether Clark deserves more attention, but rather whether the WNBA will fully embrace the opportunity she represents or stick to outdated business practices.
He's getting the lion's share of the attention. The games are now getting put, all of his games are on TV. And he just was a polarizing figure. And Tiger Woods was like that when he went to the PGA as well. He changed the total economics of golf the same way Michael Jordan changed the financial economics of the NBA.
Clark is entering a completely new field of difficulties. Caitlin Clark is the one best suited for this moment. Even if the pressure is greater, the spotlight is brighter, and every action will be closely watched. There is no denying that the game is constantly evolving.